Anyway, what we've got today, we've asked for your questions, and Sally and I have had a bit of a session talking about how we're going to answer these questions. So how this is going to work is that we've got about 10 questions. Hopefully they are fairly universal. And it's not going to be possible for us to find that person within the group and have a conversation with her, because it breaks up the recording, and we very much want to record this to put out for other people to benefit from. However, we will do our best to say, well, I'll read out the question and then Sally and I will, in our own various ways, answer it. So the very first question is to do with colouring and eyebrows. So quite often these are questions that come up. So this is Marion. I have two queries. I'm a cross between warm and cool, a spring and summer mix, as Colour Me Beautiful calls it. Am I right in presuming that I wear the appropriate makeup colours with the appropriate wardrobe colours? As you see, this means doubling my makeup range, or does it? Being blonde when young, moving to mousy brown, though now I am a highlighted blonde, I have no eyebrows to speak of, so have to pencil them in every day. I'm not keen on a very tattoo process called feathering, so I wondered if you had any suggestions. I'm 69 and folk tend to think I'm much younger. Okay, lucky you. Okay, so let's look at this issue about colour. So this person feels that she's fairly neutral. She switches between spring and summer. So that's fine, and that, you know, that happens, that colours that are on the softer end of the spectrum work really well for you. And that's the important point to take from that. If you're spring and summer, according to that that seasons classification, you're likely to suit lighter, softer, more subtle colours. I mean, if you look at me today, I'm wearing, you know, this red necklace, and these earrings have got a bit of red in them, and I've got red lipstick on. I'm winter, and I'm at the deeper, stronger, more, more profound end of the spectrum in terms of colour. So this person is the opposite end from me. So I would say, and Sally and I discussed this, that when you're looking at makeup colours for that, you're always looking for the softer shades. Now, I don't think it means that you have to have two sets of makeup. I think with the eye makeup colours, you can often use them interchangeably, you know, with warm and cool. They can both suit. It's a bit of a trial and error thing. We say some things are definitely warm toned, like I couldn't wear the terracotta, for instance, and definitely cool toned. But at the same time, you know, if you experiment, you'll find that they'll work quite well for you. I'm also going to give a plug right now to we've got a new thing on our website, and it's a colour quiz. We've worked really hard on this. We spent a lot of time trying to get it right. You know, lots of input from me and various other people to try and frame that quiz so that it actually ends up giving you a correct answer. And it seems to be working pretty well. It's not 100%, nothing like that can ever be 100%, but at least it's giving people quite a strong guidance in the right direction. So do have a look at that. It's on our website. Bryony, what's it under? Where do you find it? Is it under Discover?
You can find it on the homepage. It's also under Discover, and I'll just pop it in the chat now so everyone can find it, and we'll put it underneath the recording as well.
Okay, so on the homepage of our website, lookfabulousforever.com, you click on Discover, scroll down, you'll find Colour Quiz. Okay, so that's the thing. Don't worry about eye makeup colours, I'd say to Marion. More worry about your lipstick colours. And I think there, when you're wearing a particular outfit in a particular colour, make sure the tone of your lipstick works with the tone of your clothes, the undertone of your clothes. So if you've got a warmer outfit on, wear a warmer lipstick. If you've got a cooler shaded outfit on, a summer outfit, which is cool, then go for an undertone that's more blue. So I hope that answers your question. So the other thing is eyebrows. Now for eyebrows, I'm just going to hand over to Sally for this. We have done a whole video on eyebrows. It was the first Makeup Monday, Magic Makeup Monday video that we did. So do take a look at that. But just for a further elucidation, I'm going to hand over to Sally just to talk a little bit about eyebrows.
Tricia, thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's so lovely to see you all. It's been a long time. Yes, we did do a whole sort of video on eyebrows, but I wanted to say to Marion that even somebody with no eyebrows or very, very scarce eyebrows would definitely benefit from trying our Bring Back Brow Shape, which is to a lot of people a little bit of a scary product, but once you know how to use it, it is actually quite life-changing, I think. At the moment, we have 2 shades, grey and quite a dark brown, but we are bringing out a lighter brown, which will be lovely when that comes out quite soon, I hope. But I personally, although I'm quite fair, I still use the dark brown. And what the difference between this and using a pencil, a lot of ladies like to use pencil. Pencil can be used as long as it's used really carefully and actually drawn. What you don't want to do is to draw a pencil line that just looks like a child drawing a line if you're using pencil. If you're going to use a pencil, you still need to do it in a very soft and sort of feathery way. But this product allows you to do that even better. So if you have no eyebrows at all, you'd want to know where to actually place them. And just a quick tip is to take either a pencil or an eye pencil and actually do that corner end of nose to your eyes where it should start, your eyebrows. Put it from the corner of your nose to the corner of your eye, and that's where your eyebrows should finish. And the middle point, the highest point, is actually in the center of your iris pupil. So what you can do with this is actually, the secret is to shake it, make sure that it is a liquid. So what I do is actually put a little bit. You can either, I'll just show you, I'd always take a little bit on a tissue just to take the excess off. I'm not going to put it on my eyebrows now, but I'm just going to show you on my hand. You can actually physically.
You need to lift that up, Sally.
Sorry, can you see that there? That's it. Literally, you can just paint in, hard to do that upside down, a very feathery line. So you can actually put a little dot where I showed you, dot at the end, dot at the beginning, and dot at the middle, sort of painting by numbers, and then literally you're just feathering it through. And then the secret to this product is to then soften it with our spoolie brush, and when it's still wet, you can just smooth it through, and that will give a much softer effect. It's brilliant. It's waterproof, it stays on all day, and it just has the effect of making even if you've got no brows at all, you can actually paint in little lines and then soften it with the spoolie brush, and it looks amazing. So definitely worth a try, Marion, if you haven't got this product. Okay.
Thanks, Sally. So I've used grey this morning on my eyebrows, and again, I've got sort of quite short eyebrows now, and I had a bit of a go at my eyebrows this morning because they were looking a bit straggly. So quite a lot of plucking of those errant hairs that I have what I call hockey stick hair, which is where it comes out and hooks at the bottom. And then I have them growing in the opposite direction to the direction I want them to grow. So I tend to be quite ruthless, pluck them out, and then I can replace the hair that I plucked out by that little feathery stroke. We are introducing, I'm not sure, Bryony, maybe you could find this out while we're on this call. I think Susie sent us all round, Susie, my daughter, who's our operations director, sent us around an email recently as to when we're going to get it, but we've got a third colour on its way. You'll all be thrilled to hear this, and it's going to be a pale brown, a soft brown. So it's going to be for those people who are blonde or have got blondie eyebrows. So we're going to have a dark brown, a pale brown, and a grey. And so we've trialled that, and it's out there for production. Have you got any idea, Bryony, when that's going to be in? You're looking it up now.
Just looking up, 1 second, I'll just find out.
Okay, so it's all right. You tell me when you've got it. I think just reiterating what Sally said, just don't use a pencil like that. Light feathery strokes always. Yes, Bryony.
So we're expecting stock in the middle of June. So mid-June, that should be in stock and available to purchase online.
Okay, so we've got about 4 or 5 weeks to wait for that. So not too long. Okay, let's go into the second question, and it's about pilling. So it's Anne. I always moisturize first thing and then leave it for a while before applying the primer. I then apply the CC foundation. That's continuous cover foundation, but find it pills on my skin in places. This has always this has also happened when I've been trying it on other ladies, and I don't know why is it doesn't always happen. I have used other foundations like Bobbi Brown. This doesn't happen when I use them with LFF primer. I have no problem with LFF Beauty Balm. So this is an issue that comes up from time to time. I'm going to make a declaration here. I'm not sure I can totally answer this question because it's incredibly individual in terms of how it happens. So let's get clear about what pilling is in case any of those of you are not sure. So it's where you go to put your foundation on, and instead of it smoothing evenly onto the skin, it starts to rub off and it forms little tiny clumps. It's incredibly frustrating, and it's also, well, it's infuriating and frustrating because you feel like you can't get a smooth finished effect. Now let's think about what's going on here. One of the things that I often say to people when they complain about pilling, I'll say, try putting it on the back of your hand when your hand has got it, you know, you've almost just washed your hands, so your hands have got nothing on them whatsoever. There's nothing on your skin. It's just pure skin. And try putting a squirt of that and see if it actually works without pilling. And I would say that 99% of the time it will. So it tells me that it isn't the product that's pilling. What is happening is some interaction between the product and your skin on your face. Now, our skins on our face are usually not purely clean when we apply foundation. Let's face it, you know, from the moment that we've started cleansing, we've then and even cleansing, if you're using a cream cleanser, you are adding, you know, a certain amount of surface area, a surface texture to your skin. Now, for some skins, once you've put on, you know, you've cleansed your skin, and then you put on serum, and then you put on moisturizer. You may have even been wearing a night cream that hasn't got completely gone, but your skin already has on it sort of various product. Then you come to put on a primer, perhaps, and then you put on your foundation. Now, sometimes what happens is that the foundation starts to interact with the formulation of the products that you've been putting on your skin, especially certain types of moisturizer, of which Boots is the Boots Protect and Perfect is the key culprit, and it doesn't like it. So our foundation doesn't work with certain primer moisturizers. It works with ours. And one of the things that I can say to you about pilling is that when I was testing the moisturizers from when we were developing it, and they were doing, you know, we were coming up with different formulations with different textures and so on and so forth. Obviously, I was testing it all the time with our foundation, and one or two of them, the foundation would pill with it. So it was like, this is not interacting in the right way. So we got one in the end that was working with our foundation, and it didn't pill. So it's that's the problem. So the first thing that we say to people is, well, the first thing is check that your moisturizer is probably the main culprit. If you're using that moisturizer, it won't work with our foundation. Now you've got a choice there. You can either abandon our foundation and stick with your moisturizer, or you can change your moisturizer and stick with our foundation. It could be that your skin has got a fair amount of dead skin cells on the surface and needs exfoliating. Because again, that pilling can be that the foundation is sticking to that exterior layer on your skin. You know, you've got the epidermis, but on top of the epidermis, you can have a very fine layer of dead skin cells, and it will just work. It starts to mix with those dead skin cells, and that's where you get the pilling. Now, I say that because I've got a funny patch here, and I sometimes get pilling of our foundation, even though I'm using our moisturizer and everything else that works really well with our foundation here. And it's a very, very weird phenomenon. I don't get it here. I don't get it anywhere else. I just get it here. So there must be something about that patch of skin that is causing it. So what I do, I don't worry about it. I just you know, spread it onto that bit, and I can feel that it's starting to lift off. So I get a big fat brush, you know, the #1 brush, and I just rub it over, which actually rubs away the pills, and it leaves the product underneath, covering my skin perfectly. It doesn't all come off. So that's another thing that you can do. If it's a very light pilling, and sometimes it is, just get a big brush and just wipe them off, and you'll find that your makeup will look lovely underneath. It's absolutely fine. What else can I say to you about it? I think that's the extent of my information and knowledge. Obviously, foundations are formulated with different ingredients. Sometimes those ingredients are working counter to the ingredients of the other things that you're applying, so it'll be trial and error. But I suppose what upsets me is when people write in or they complain and they say, oh, you know, your foundation, this, that, and the other, it doesn't happen with Bobbi Brown or that. Well, it probably doesn't. The Bobbi Brown one maybe is formulated for younger skin. Don't forget that all our makeup is formulated for older skin. It's formulated to be better and work better when your skin is dehydrated, it's older, and it also needs a certain amount of coverage without looking heavy. So it is formulated in that way. So you're not comparing like with like. No, it won't pill with that one, but it might pill with another one. So anyway, it's trial and error. Always remember that if you try it, you don't like it, you feel it doesn't suit you, you don't want to use it, and you just want to go back to what you were using before, then just send it back to us. We'll give you your money back. You've wasted nothing, and you've also lost nothing in the process. And I'm more than happy to say to you that we would prefer that you did that than you know, try and put up with something that you're unhappy with. We sell a lot of continuous cover foundation. It's one of our top sellers. So we know that we've got thousands and thousands of women out there who love it. It works for them, and it's not a problem. So if you have a problem with it and you don't want to use it, then obviously it's your choice, and you have at least lost nothing. Okay, how are we doing? Did you want to add anything to that, Sally, or are you happy with that answer?
Just one quick thing is, I think you might have mentioned it, but when you're putting your moisturizer on, I always wait. I always do something else and don't go straight from moisturizer into primer and foundation. So I do a thin layer, I do my serum, thin layer of moisturizer, then I will either brush my teeth, get dressed, do something else before going into the makeup, and that also will definitely help. But yes, I totally agree with everything that Tricia has said. And you know, with having done hundreds and hundreds of makeovers in the shops as well as obviously at home, it does occasionally happen, but it is very often because of the moisturizer that my client's been using before. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's important to understand that when you're layering onto the skin, your skin can only absorb so much at a time. So just thin layers and leave time in between. And I would say with our continuous cover foundation, because it is covering, you only need very little of it. But I think sometimes because you're used to thinner foundations, which are made for younger skins, which can cope. This is why I started Look Fabulous Forever. I started Look Fabulous Forever because I went out and spent over £40 on a Chanel foundation, got excited about it, came back, put it on, and I was so disappointed. I thought, do you know what? I think I could do better than this. So I started Look Fabulous Forever, and I was stimulated to do that. So just remember that that some of those formulations, that foundations that you have been using will be thinner, and you will need more of them for coverage. For ours, you need much less because they're formulated to actually cover well on older skin. Okay, let's go on to the next one about SPF. This is I think quite an important one, and I've got some. Unfortunately, I've got some bad news on this. I would like to ask about sunscreen under makeup. I've had a lip biopsy and it was negative, thank goodness, but have been advised since to wear SPF 50 every day. 50 plus every day. I'm also taking a drug for long-term health condition, which also increases your risk of skin cancer. So I'm extremely careful. Does applying your wonderful Smooth Like Silk face prime followed by beauty balm disturb the protection in some way? Is there a way of applying it that I should be doing? E.g. brush, fingers, etc. Just want to be as safe as possible. Will you be creating a moisturizer with an SPF in the future? Well, our moisturizer does have an SPF in it. It's not high. It's between 10 and 15, but we have to claim 10. But there is some protection within the moisturizer, thank goodness. So you might be able to reduce the amount of SPF in the SPF product that you're putting on if you know that you're already getting 10 from moisturizer. Now, I've told you about the drops. I'm so excited about these. I'm using them myself at the moment, and we were really hoping that the manufacturer would get them to us by June. And guess what? We've been told that it's going to be November. So you can probably see the bald spot on the top of my head because I've pulled my hair out. What can we do? Absolutely nothing. If you're working with a team at a manufacturers and you are agreeing various things about when things are going to be produced and so on, and they turn around and say, this is when we're going to produce this for you in the middle of the winter, you know, as we go into the winter, really good SPF drops in November. There's nothing you can do about it. So you just have to take a deep breath. Otherwise, you will get heart palpitations and not be able to breathe properly. You just have to go, okay, let it go. So I'm really sorry about that. But this time next year, they'll be there. Think about that. So I'm going to hand over to Sally for this one.
Okay. I think this was also a question that we had in one of our, or a similar question in one of our other videos. And I have a friend who's a dermatologist, and I actually wanted to confirm with her the correct order and was there a problem, and she very kindly talked to me and agreed that no, if you use the serum first, you can then use moisturizer, an ordinary moisturizer, then you can use your 50 if you're using one, Linda, a 50 SPF, that will be fine. Then you're going into the makeup side, using the primer on top and makeup is absolutely fine. One thing you could do if you are concerned about, obviously when you put makeup over an SPF and you get to lunchtime, say you're still out and about in the sunshine and you're concerned about reapplying sun protection factor, there are products on the market that you can buy that actually you can spray over makeup that have got SPF in them. A couple of products are La Roche-Posay, do one, which is an anti-shine SPF 50 that you can spray over makeup. Kate Somerville SPF Soft Focus Makeup Setting Spray is an SPF of 50. The Body Shop, I've got just one here, the Body Shop does a Skin Defense one, which is an SPF 30, which you can spray over makeup. So that just might be another thing that you want to do, just to, if you're concerned about continuing. But the more layers, that layering of makeup is also an added protection, actually. The more, I mean, I remember my lovely mum, who's in her 80s, used to say to me, well, my makeup is also protecting my skin. And she does have amazing skin for her 80s because she's worn makeup all her life. And she used to be a bit of a sun person. She used to love the sun, but obviously, so doing, I think applying, as we say in all the videos, will be absolutely fine for you, as long as you're using your SPF 50 as your dermatologist, as your doctor told you to do, after your serum. And if you want to use an ordinary day moisturizer, then do your SPF, then go into the primer and the makeup. Okay.
Thank you, Sally. I think those sprays are a very good idea because, in fact, you can, because they're finishing sprays, then you don't have this problem of when do I apply and how much do I apply and so on and so forth. You know that you're giving yourself an extra layer of protection there. Number 4 is from, question 4 is from Monica. I have some very dark age sunspots or hyperpigmentation. I think it's called. I have quite a lot of lighter ones, but the main problem is one particularly dark one on my forehead and large ones on both cheeks. My left cheek is particularly bad with a cluster of age spots and also lines, which makes the whole area very noticeable. I try to cover them with beauty balm and concealer with only limited effect. I realise that this is due to my childhood in sunny Cornwall, plus working in gardening for years with insufficient sunscreen, but it looks so awful now that I'm anxious to have some help with it. Any advice would be gratefully received. Okay, so the thing about age spots, I've also got a couple of age spots which I cover up. I've got one here and one here. So they are common things. They are to do with the way that the melanin in the skin breaks down as you get older and forms these patches. Now, one of the things that I would say very definitely to, let me get it back up again, Monica, is that I don't think that the Beauty Balm is right for her. So she's saying that she's using Beauty Balm and concealer. When I had very bad breakouts and skin discoloration because of acne rosacea, which you know I've cleared up mostly with diet and also Look Fabulous Forever skincare. When my skin was at its most mottled and disturbed and angry and red and so on and so forth, my greatest defense against that was actually continuous cover foundation. So what foundation does, proper full-on foundation, it's intended to take patchiness, blemishes and general skin discoloration and even that out in the best way possible. And I'd find that after I'd applied just my foundation to my very patchy skin, that the difference was phenomenal. It was just like pulling a screen over my face almost, because suddenly my skin all over my face was more or less the same color. Then I would go to work and really go to work with the concealer. So my advice to Monica, I think it's unlikely, Monica, that you're going to completely cover this pigmentation, but you can absolutely make it a lot better. If you, I will recommend something that is heavier and more covering and more camouflaging than our concealer, and that's a product called Dermablend. Now, Dermablend is used by makeup artists in the film industry and the television industry, and it is designed literally for camouflage. So you know that the word camouflage, it's much stronger than conceal. Conceal means that you as much as possible you cover it up, but camouflage means that you eradicate it. So if you want to explore a product like Dermablend, now Dermablend comes in different colors, but you can often get, I know makeup artists use palettes that they then mix. So they will mix it to exactly the right color in order to cover whatever the pigmentation or thing that they're trying to cover is. Now, obviously, if you're using a heavier duty product like that, a good brush, a nice magnifying mirror, real precision, so that you're doing it carefully. So you're almost doing it like a really good makeup artist and covering it up. And then I would always say with concealer, what I do with concealer on top of a good foundation is to use translucent powder to then set it. So my routine now, and I do a lot of camouflaging, I would say concealing, camouflaging in this area now, where I have heaviness and darkness and blueness and God knows what. Plus my H spot is foundation first, then concealer, and really carefully applied concealer, properly applied concealer, tapped in, pushed in with the brush, then with my fingers, and then translucent powder on top. And it really works for me. And I think, as I said, I would say to Monica, if you're really worried about this, always use a good foundation, a proper covering foundation. And then if you want to explore something heavier and stronger and more camouflaging, have a look at Dermablend. Sally, did you want to add anything to that?
Only about using the colour neutralizer. Did you mention that?
Oh yes, okay.
Because with really dark brown spots, this is another really good product to use on darker areas, but I would use that before using the foundation. I think we've got that in another question as well, but this product is really good for not only dark circles, but you can use it for very dark pigmentation. The other thing is you might want to look at some skincare that has got a product called niacinamide, which is vitamin B3, which is meant to help with darkness, with hyperpigmentation, and also vitamin C serums are also good because that helps with both those problems. So you might want to look skincare wise as well, but yeah, absolutely agree with Dermablend. It's a really good product for camouflage, but you can do an awful lot with our concealer and with the colour, the neutralizer, the peach one too.
The next question is to do with that colour corrector. So I'm having trouble with it. This is Anne. I'm having trouble with the colour corrector, the orange one, or peach one, no matter how much or how little I put under my eye area, and no matter how much I try to blend it in, it always looks evident to me, even with concealer on top. How on earth do you apply this stuff? And she put PS, I followed Sally's tip of using a dab of jojoba oil under the eye eyes before applying concealer, and it works brilliantly. So there's a little thing there of your tip. So Sally, what have you got to say about the application of the colour corrector?
Okay, there actually, it's also worth noting that there is a video. If you go into the website, I think it's on Solving Dilemmas, where there is somebody actually doing this. However, what I do is I actually use my primer first, my face Smoother Silk face primer, and I then use this. So if you've got really very darkness under the eyes, I tend to put it on with the applicator on the dark areas, then use my ring finger to tap it in. At that point, it will still, you'll think it actually looks worse, it looks a little bit darker, but the peach is counteracting the sort of the brownness. So don't worry, we haven't finished at this point. What I then would do is put a very thin layer of the foundation that I'm using, foundation or Light Look Beauty Balm, and actually still put a little bit of that under the eye. And then I actually go in with concealer. And you need a reasonable amount of concealer, but again, it's tapping the product rather than dragging it. That makes a difference. If you tap, 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 until it sort of melts. And then, thank you for your kind words about the jojoba oil. You can use it before, but what I also do is use a teeny amount of jojoba oil afterwards at the very end. Just to melt that in. So actually, after you've done the peach neutralizer foundation and your concealer, just a tiny bit of jojoba oil, and that will just sort of melt all the products together. It is a little bit of trial and error in terms of, it's difficult for me to say how much without seeing an individual person, but it does work on a lot of people. But don't be put off when you first put it on before you put the concealer on, because it doesn't look quite right until you've got everything else on. So yeah, that's kind of what I would say on that one. Any other thoughts, Tricia?
No, where do you buy your jojoba oil?
I just get it. Well, this is one I've been using. It's such a big bottle. This has lasted me for so long, and I just got this online. I think I got it on Amazon.
Okay.
You know, I think you can buy smaller bottles, but at the time I used this one, and it's lasted me for goodness knows how long. It's brilliant. But make sure if you get a jojoba oil, it is organic and cold pressed, so it's got nothing extra added to it. That's really important. But it's really good for just also if at the end of sort of halfway through the day your makeup's looking a bit not, you shouldn't do if you're using our primers, but it's looking a bit sort of dull, just a tiny bit of oil will just sort of make it look luminous again. It's brilliant product, and great for nails and hair and anywhere really. Okay.
The next one from Jackie. This is, and combined with somebody called Caroline. So two questions, similar questions from Jackie and Caroline. Help or advice greatly needed, please, on how to cover red marks on my cheeks caused by broken capillaries, etc. I apply foundation all over my face, then LFF concealer on the red cheeks, and gently pat a little translucent powder to set the concealer. So she's doing all that right. So far, so good. But as soon as I start applying my LFF peach cream blusher, some of the red marks seem to work their way through my camouflage and reappear. I use my ring finger usually to gently tap the blusher on. Any advice or thoughts at all on how to apply the blusher without this happening, please? And Caroline says, I've always had high colour in my cheeks, which has not diminished with age. As a result, I've never really known where to place blusher to enhance rather than look as if I'm experiencing a permanent hot flush. So, questions about the blusher. So Sally, what thoughts have you got about that?
My first thought is that Jackie, I don't know if you've used the green, because redness is counteracted and counterbalanced by green. So I would suggest you try this product too. Again, it looks really scary. People think green on my cheeks, but actually it's in the same family as the peach. Peach is, as I said, sort of really dark brown and sort of grey, but green is for redness. So I would suggest that you try doing your primer, your Smoother Silk primer, then anywhere where you are going to get red, just take the green and actually put it, green, it is green, put it on and just, I haven't got any redness there, but you can see, you just tap it in and blend it. And it could be that, you're putting it on quite a large area and blending it. You'll see then that your face has got a very slight green tinge, but it's also all the redness is gone. So what you would then do is put your foundation on. And if you put the green on, you can't just put your foundation in a really sort of haphazard way. You have to sort of stipple it on rather than drag, because you don't want the green to be dragged into areas that you don't want it. So I would, using the foundation brush, I'd be sort of putting the foundation on a little bit more like this than dragging it through. And then also using my fingers to sort of pat it over. I would then put the concealer on. So that's another, another layer of thin concealer if you want to. You might not need as much concealer if you use the green. And what I would say with the blusher is, I would potentially use, I think you are using a peach blusher, the peach blusher rather than, because that's got a little bit more warmth. It's got pink, but it's got more warmth rather than the raspberry pop, which is quite pink. And again, when you're putting the blusher on, so if you are naturally rosy cheeked and you get quite a lot of redness, you probably won't get so much redness up here. So when you're putting the blusher on, again, you want to tap it where hopefully the redness has gone from the green, so you can then actually put your blusher on where you want it to go. But don't forget to bring a little bit up here, so that actually if the redness comes through, a little bit, which it might do, but hopefully not too much if you're using the green and everything else, you still got a little bit of blusher up here rather than just ending up with sort of rosy cheeks. So it's important to sort of a bit of a teardrop shape, really, is kind of how I would bring it up here and just tap it on. Again, you can't very easily, if you put the green on, you can't just sort of use a blusher brush. I would actually use my fingers more than the blusher brush with this, because if you then get the blusher brush and do that, you're sort of wiping off the green that you've carefully placed and the concealer that you've carefully placed. So I would tend to, again, put finger and build it up reasonably. You might not need lots of blusher. If you're naturally going to get a little bit of pink coming through, you might not need loads in the sort of the apple area, but don't forget to bring a little bit up here. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, I would reiterate what Sally just said there about some people don't need much blusher. I think if you've got naturally quite rosy cheeks, and some people have, perhaps because you have a bit of an outdoor life and you're out in the garden a lot of the time, and or I don't know what kind of lifestyle you have, but if you have got naturally quite rosy cheeks, don't always feel that you need to put blusher on, or much blusher on. Maybe just a touch, and as Sally said, maybe lift it quite high up here. Blusher is lovely taken up to the hairline, so that it just gives you well, I just think it adds a wonderful glow to the face, but you might also already be quite glowing if you've got quite rosy cheeks. So hopefully that was helpful to you. Okay, number 7 question, Rachel. I've been variously analysed as winter, autumn and just deep. It was hard for the last consultant to decide between winter and autumn, so believe I am quite neutral. Can you recommend a lipstick that is neither too warm or too cool? Your makeup artist at Makeover said to keep away from too orangey colours. This is quite a hard one for me to advise you on, but I'll try. If you're winter or autumn or deep, so again, this is where we started. The first question we had was about spring, summer. So I said keep the very, very nice, light, delicate colours, and that would be quite light and delicate lipsticks. This is the opposite, and this is me really, but I'm definitely cool tone, not warm toned. But you can get away with much stronger colours on your face if you're wearing stronger coloured clothes. So my advice to this person would be, depending on what she's wearing, to go for one of our stronger colours. So I would say that what I'm wearing today is I put on our Monroe red, because I just thought that with this I bought this what's it called, necklace. I went to Guildford week before last and went into Sahara because I love their jewelry, and this was reduced to 20 quid, so I thought it was a bit of a bargain. So it's as you say, it's bubbles of red, and I got these earrings in there to match, and they've got these little red ball things here, and I managed to buy 4 pairs of earrings in Zara. Like I need more earrings, like the one thing that would make my life complete would be earrings. But anyway, I managed to find 4 pairs that I absolutely loved. This was one pair. And anyway, so here am I wearing my new red necklace and my new red earrings. And I thought the Monroe red would go really well with these. So that's why I'm wearing that. So to this person, I'd say wear a good strong color. So cherry red, Monroe red, or Hollywood red. Now, Hollywood red is our red for warm tones, but it's not too orangey. So I wouldn't go for something like Foxy Lady or Coral or True Coral or Russet, those colors, which are very warm and slightly orangey. So I'd stick with either possibly Very Berry, although Very Berry has got quite a lot of plummy color in it. I'd stick with cherry red, Monroe red, or possibly Hollywood red, and see how that works for you, depending on what you're wearing. But I definitely wouldn't be scared of a really good strong lip color. If you're described as deep, you'll be able to take it, definitely. Let's go on to question number 8. We've got Leslie. Please could you cover some SOS skincare and makeup suggestions? I've had a horrible cold all week, and despite my best efforts, it has left me with a red nose, red lips, and reddened upper lip area. Poor you. Also, I've developed a couple of spots, probably because it's made me a bit run down. So all in all, not feeling my best, even though the cold is finally clearing up. Any advice how to prevent or disguise any of the above problems would be very welcome. Sally, let me come to you. And what would you say to somebody who is getting over a nasty cold and is feeling in need of a pick-me-up?
I totally empathise, Leslie. I got my first nasty cold of a long, long time. It was about a month ago, and it was absolutely horrible because I think we've all been inside. We've been sort of away from bugs. I just got a cold, and which I first thought must be coronavirus, which it wasn't. It was obviously just a cold, but my skin was just like you. It just felt, I think our skin definitely does reflect our health. You've got to be kind to yourself, I think, when this is the case. Lots of hydration in your diet as well, obviously drinking a lot and eating healthily, but hydrating your skin with serum, even using more spritzers on your face, just kind of water spritzers is really good. Lip balms, moisturize, maybe exfoliate if you haven't done that for a while. That will just take away the dead skin cells. In terms of covering up the spots and the green area, the red areas, and I would use the green, as I talked about. The green is also good if you've got a really, really red spot or pimple underneath foundation, and then a little bit of concealer. And sleep. For me, the best thing for me when I'm run down is actually to try and get more sleep, and then my skin amazingly does recover. But I think a cold actually really does show on your skin, and I totally sympathize, because I've just had the same sort of thing myself. But it's a combination of looking after your skin with a lot more hydration, sleep, diet, drinking a lot more water, just getting water in there to flush through the toxins, and getting rid of any dead skin cells with using, I think I noticed on the thing, people using flannels. I'm so glad I use a flannel to cleanse my skin. I use a clean one every day, and that does definitely make a difference to brightening up the skin, particularly if you're feeling a little bit sort of down and your skin's got a little bit run down. You'll just be generally run down fighting off the cold. So hopefully by now you're feeling a little bit better anyway, but that would be my advice.
Yeah, 100% echo that. When I go to France, which I've been doing for the last 20 years, I'm usually incredibly tired. I'm incredibly tired because it's often the end of quite a long, busy period for me. And I'm going on holiday. So basically, like a lot of people, when you're getting ready for holiday, you're in need of a holiday. So it's a similar kind of thing. And I've also had an extremely long drive of about 12 hours or so. Now I do it over two days. Anyway, I get down there and I look dreadful, absolutely dreadful. I look white, pale. I look tired. I've got heavy eyes. I've got black circles under my eyes. And the first time I look in my mirror in France, because the light there is very different, it's Mediterranean light, so it's very unforgiving, bright, strong sunlight. I look in the mirror and I just look like this feeble creature has crawled out from under a stone. And what I do, I usually sort of go, I isolate myself when I first get to France. I buy some food that will last me for 3 or 4 days. And then I almost treat myself as if I'm at some kind of spa, relaxing spa. I pretend I've gone to Champneys or somewhere. I don't know whether you've ever been to a spa, but they put you in a dressing gown and they treat you, you know, they sort of wrap you in cotton wool and make you feel terribly sort of like an invalid, you know, oh, I've got to be very careful with myself now. So I sort of do that for 3 or 4 days and it really, really helps me. Like Sally said, I rest as much as I can. I do a lot of things like exfoliating moisture masks. I don't put any makeup on for 3 or 4 days. I give my skin a break, a rest. I let my skin rest. And I really pamper myself, like indulgently. And it really makes a difference. And after about 3 or 4 days, I think yeah, enough already. I'm fine. You know, I'm not an invalid. I'm absolutely fine. And I get on with the rest of my time there. But my point is that sometimes we're very hard on ourselves. And if you've got a cold and you're feeling under par, then just do that thing of, I'm not well right now and I need to indulge myself and look after yourself. And do things like moisture masks. They're great. You know, lying in a bath with one of those things on your face that's going to really deeply moisturize and so on and so forth, and just step it all up from the point of view of nurture and nourishing and care and stuff. But just treat yourself kindly. You know, we were talking when we first came on this call about my blog over the weekend. I think sometimes we're really hard on ourselves, and just be a bit kinder to yourself and say it's okay, you know, you're okay, you will be okay. And some of that self-indulgence stuff can help a lot, just to make you feel you're making yourself feel a bit more special. So I think it's really important. So we've got another couple of questions here. Where are we at? Okay, so number 9 question, Christine, about eye makeup. Help, I have a problem with eye makeup and also applying the eye primer. I suffer from dry eye problem and have to apply Xylin, Zaillin ointment at night. Although I thoroughly cleanse my face before applying any makeup and make sure my eyelids are free from grease, I don't seem to be able to apply the lid prime evenly and achieve that lovely matte finish when I apply the eyeshadow. I have tried using both the concealer brush and also my finger. Also, sometimes during the day, my eyelids get moist and hence the eyeshadow starts to crease. What am I doing wrong? Any help and advice would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure I'm not the only woman who suffers from dry eyes. So if you're out there, please tell me your secret. So I'm not sure that any of you have got that problem. My thought when I read this was that if she's applying this dry eye problem, this special, really emollient ointment to her eyelids every night, however much she tries to get rid of the residue of greasiness in the morning, some of that product is going to be absorbed into the skin. So the skin is actually going to be naturally filled with oiliness that you can't get rid of just by washing the top surface. The skin itself has absorbed the ointment. And I'm wondering if that's forming quite a natural barrier every morning to some of the things that she's trying to put on top. The one thing that I would say, and we have to say this all the time to people about the eye primer, only apply a very small amount. The eye primer is designed to be a very, very lightweight, light, thin, extremely superficial cover onto the eyelids. So I think quite a lot of women put too much on. I really do. I think they're applying too much. And as such, instead of it being a primer, which is designed just to really form this lovely base onto which you then put your eye makeup, it actually forms almost a barrier to the eye makeup. So I think you have to be very, very careful. So only put a tiny, tiny amount on. And I would say that, I don't know, I'm going to pass over to you, Sally, now. Just any thoughts that you've got about the application of eye makeup on top of this there?
Yes, I agree with everything you say. I had a client once who had exactly the same issue, and it was the ointment that she was putting on the night before was still the next day, just sort of coming through, even though she thought she'd cleaned the eye. One thing you could try, I would definitely say, to use like a damp cotton pad and just wipe over first, and then to actually pat the eye dry properly with a tissue before you apply a very, very small thin amount of the primer, which I know you said you tried both with the brush and fingers. I actually apply it with the concealer brush, but then I pat it in a little bit with my finger. What you could do is you could actually try just a very light dusting of our light translucent powder at that stage before putting on your eyeshadow. That might also help. Try that just to help with later on. Just in terms of omega-3, lots of omega-3 fatty acids in diet is meant to be really, really good for dry eyes. So flaxseed and salmon and sardines, I've read that can really help. And I just noticed in the chat that somebody says that evening primrose oil capsule has really helped with her husband. So that might also help. You might want to avoid also sort of lining your lower lashes if you're getting sort of runny eyes during the day. But the other thing you could do is you could use a setting spray. We talked about setting sprays in one of the other videos, and I use one called Model in a Bottle, which at the end of your makeup, you literally close your eyes and spray your face. And it will just set everything. You might find that also helps to keep your eye makeup on. So there are a few out there on the market, but a setting spray might work too. Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you very much indeed, Sally. So we've got our, I think this is probably our last question, which is from Chris, and it's a lip problem and a puffy eye problem. So I have really pronounced lines around my mouth in the moustache area. Is there any way of disguising or even treating them? I have most of the time very puffy eyes. I take lots of strong medications and injections for rheumatoid disease, plus other chronic conditions. This results in puffy eyes in me. I find them difficult to disguise. So there's a couple of pretty intractable problems there, caused by, well, the first one's caused by aging. Let's face it. Really pronounced lines around the mouth. They're obviously exacerbated by lifestyle. So if you did get quite a lot of sun damage when you were younger, or you smoked, smokers tend to have lines around their mouth much more than people who don't smoke. But with age, and I can see this in myself, my lines are starting to get quite pronounced and prominent. I mean, some of you are not going to like this answer, but I think that I often look at my face and I notice something happening. I notice a change, that there's more lines. I'm noticing some here at the moment, and I just look at them and go, okay, that's the way it is. Like I said, you're not going to like that answer, because what most people do when they look at their faces and see things that they don't like, they say there must be a solution to this. Well, there is a whole industry out there that will try and convince you that there are lots of solutions that you've got to it, and they include things like injectables, fillers, laser treatments, and so on and so forth. So if you want to go that route, you want to explore that, I would say be wary. Always investigate the person that's doing the treatment, and do your due diligence very, very, very carefully, because it's unregulated and there are no laws to protect you if it goes wrong. I don't want to go that route. So I've taken a completely different approach to the signs of aging that I have on my face. And I just, I don't exactly welcome them. I just allow them to be as they are. And I know that, I'm 73 now. Over the next 10, 20 years, if I'm lucky to live that long, my face is going to continue to age. And I have decided that what I'm going to do about that is to, as much as I can, welcome and celebrate that process, rather than fight and bemoan it. Because I think that if I fight and bemoan it, I shall get progressively more unhappy. And I don't want to be progressively more unhappy. I'd rather stay progressively happier. So I've just decided to, in the words of Elsa in Frozen, let it go. Now, that doesn't help you at all. Obviously, lines and wrinkles are ameliorated, softened, and helped by really excellent skincare. So always do that. but I'm assuming that you're doing that anyway. So you have three approaches. You know, you've got the normal upkeep stuff. You've then got the philosophical approach, which is accept and let it be, or you've got the dramatic interventionist approach, which if you are going to go that route, all I'd say to you is, for goodness sake, do a lot of homework and make sure that you're in the hands of somebody who actually knows what they're doing. So Sally, shall I pass over to you for any comments you've got on that?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Interesting enough, I didn't think I had any lip vertical fissures, they're called, and then suddenly I looked in the mirror and they were there. They sort of came overnight. So I've got a lot because I'm quite an expressive person. I've never smoked, but I think I must pout and do strange things with my mouth. So I do understand, and I like Tricia, I'm very wary. I wouldn't personally go down the injectables or fillers route, but you know, that is, as you say, an option. One thing I would say is keeping your lip area hydrated is really important. So using the hyaluronic acid, the serum that we have is brilliant. Avoiding putting lots of thick foundation on this area. Actually, the foundation on your sort of top lip area, keep that very thin. I would still suggest, even if you've got the vertical lip lines, well, certainly our lip primer is brilliant when you're actually putting lipstick on, because that will stop any feathering and bleeding into these lines. And you put the lip prime actually on the outer edge of your lips, not all over the lips. But highlighter, good old highlighter, I've used this before. I wouldn't not do it. Actually using a highlighter actually around the lips, because it's going that way, not that way, can actually physically make your lines look less. I would say don't avoid using lipstick because you've got vertical lines on your lips. Don't think, I can't put anything on my lips. But one thing I have found actually with my clients and myself is, if you've got sort of lines like that, actually using a gloss as well as a lipstick, because of the light reflecting of the gloss, it somehow just blurs everything a little bit. So I'm today using coral lipstick, and then I have got my this gloss, and I just think using a bit of gloss, because of the way the light reflects, will just detract a little bit away from the lines there. So that's my thoughts on that. The puffy eyes, if you've got very puffy eyes, don't be mistaken in thinking you've got to put a light concealer on the puffiness, because puffiness is brought forward. Light makeup brings things forward more. So if you've got very puffy eyes, you probably want to put your concealer actually into the indented bit underneath the puffiness rather than on the puffy bit, and blend that bit in, which will have the effect of flattening the puffy eyes slightly. So I hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, I hope it helps as well. And I think a final thing on that, and we are going to close now, is that people don't notice the stuff that you notice yourself.
No.
And when people look at faces, I don't think they're minutely looking at that specific area that you're conscious of, you know, the lines are anywhere. They'll look at the overall impression that you create with the look that you have. And you know, that's a combination of a lot of different elements, your hair, you know, if you wear some nice earrings, you've got some generally really nice makeup on and a lovely lipstick, they'll look at you and they'll think you look great. They're not looking at you thinking, oh my God, she's got really deep lines around her mouth. That's not how it works. You know yourself when you look at people, that's not what you do. So that's designed to hopefully make you feel better. So yes, Bryony.
We just have three very quick questions.
Okay.
Sally, what colour lipstick are you wearing today?
So it's True Coral, but as I said, I love my lip gloss, so I have got Cinnamon Kiss over my True Coral, which is
amazing.
Toned it down and make it
perfect. And if you could just recommend out of our lipstick shades for spring wear, what colours are the best sort of spring shades that cool and warm tones should be wearing at the moment?
If I do cool tones, I love tulip pink. I put that on yesterday. I love it. It's a lovely soft. It's got enough sort of heft in it to give you colour, because I do need some colour on my face in lipstick. But it's a very, very good pink. I really like tulip pink. I definitely recommend that for wear at the moment. What would you say for warm tones, Sally?
A warm sort of light. I actually love Sunset Glow, which is quite light, but it's a really, really sort of spring-like colour. Also, I love the new soft cinnamon as well. That's a really nice colour. So that's that one too. Yeah, they're two good ones.
And then one final question, and quite a few people asking this. Sally, can you just do a very quick demonstration on the back of your hand? How much foundation should people be applying? What would be the sort of amount that you would suggest?
Okay, so I would say put the primer on first. If you're just using continuous cover on its own, I would say probably no more than that. Would you agree, Tricia?
I'd say two
small pumps.
pumps.
Yeah, that's what I've done. 2 small pumps.
So not fully down, so that if it's fully down, possibly 1. But I do.
That's 1 pump. That's sort of 2 pumps. That would be plenty. What I then do is also put a little squirt of my Look Fabulous, my Smooth as Silk primer, face prime, in that, and mix them together with my foundation brush before applying it. That's how I do it. So it's much less than you would with a thinner, as you said earlier, Tricia, a thinner product. You would need a little bit more. So try with less. You can always build up as well. I think doing it in sort of layers and buffing it in really well makes a massive difference. So less is more. You can build up if you need more, particularly in certain areas. You might need more in certain areas and less in other areas. So sort of more in the sort of the T-zone area. But yeah, no more than 2 small pumps.
That is great. Thank you so much.
Okay, so we also had questions on some session on moving from winter into summer, and that's what we're going to do next. Is that right, Sally?
Yeah, because next time is June. I think it's June the.
It's the first Monday in June.
The first Monday in June. We're going to talk about makeup for the summer, for changing, adapting, keeping. There's a lady that asked about, she gets very, very hot. She lives somewhere abroad. So how to keep your makeup on in the heat. We're going to get sun, we're going to get heat. That's what we're going to get in June, hopefully. And to adapt with summer clothing as well. So I think we're going to do that next month. I think.
And we had a question about glasses, but we have done a whole video on that, which I think what we'll do is we'll put links to that video underneath the video.
Yes, it was a video. It was the importance of face shape and how to look great in glasses, and we did it on March the 1st in one of our sessions. I looked that up. Yeah, so that would be worth. I think that was Angela wanted that, so she could see that again. That was a good session on glasses and face shape.
Yes, can I just say that we have got the most unbelievable amount of resources on our website for you. I mean, we've got so much information, so many videos that we've got. Well over 200 videos. We've got lots and lots and lots of product information, videos, about product. I mean, we do as much as we possibly can to support you as our customers in everything that you want to know. And so do have a look at our website, because there's so much on there. There really is so much. And hopefully you will find that as a useful resource for whatever you need and want to know. And we're always at the end of a telephone if you want to phone a real human being, and we've also got a chat function. So if you want to contact us, then there are ways to contact us. Sally and I will be back for this Magic Makeup Monday, first Monday of every month from now, and so we'll do the first Monday of June and July. We may not do it in August because it's chance that we'll be away, but we'll then come back in September. So we'll be doing them regularly now on the first Monday of the month. We didn't do it this month because last week was a bank holiday. Okay, and tomorrow afternoon, please come back and see the live Zoom conversation I'm going to have with Amanda Carr. That's her name, isn't it, Bryony? Amanda Carr, yeah. So she's going to be talking about scent, perfume, smell, and I think it's going to be a fascinating conversation because I know almost nothing about this, and it's all about finding and exploring and looking at different scents in order to feel and smell lovely. Who doesn't want to smell lovely? I certainly do. So I should look forward to that tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock, and hopefully some of you will come and join us. So I hope that started your week off really well, and you've got your Monday going. Have a lovely week, and thank you, Sally, thank you, Bryony, and I shall look forward to seeing some of you at least tomorrow at bye-bye everybody at 4 o'clock. Bye-bye. Thank you.